Imagine, if you will, that the modern world has simply faded away. The hum of electricity, the distant roar of traffic, the constant glow of screens, all of it gone in its place. You find yourself standing before the imposing weathered oak doors of a grand 18th century English manor house. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth, wood smoke, and the faint, lingering sweetness of old lavender. It is 5 a.m. The world is cloaked in a heavy indigo darkness. You are not a guest here, nor are you the lord of the manor. Tonight you are a ghost in the machine of history. You are about to step into a world that operated on silence, precision, and an almost clockwork invisibility. Many believed the history of the 18th century was written by kings and aristocrats in their powdered wigs. But the truth lies in the shadows, in the hands that polished the silver until it mirrored the stars, and the feet that trod softly across stone floors so as not to disturb a master's slumber. Have you ever wondered what it truly felt like to exist in a space where your very presence was meant to be unacknowledged, where you were a living piece of furniture, essential to the house's life, yet expected to vanish the moment a master entered the room? Tonight we peel back the layers of that gilded existence. We aren't just looking at history, we are breathing it. From the drafty attics to the heart-pounding urgency of the morning preparation, you are about to experience the life of a domestic servant in a way that is quiet, immersive, and profoundly human. As we drift together through these candlelit corridors, leave your burdens at the door here. Time moves differently. The rhythm of the manor is our pulse. Let the stories of the past wash over you as we explore the strict hidden hierarchy that kept the gears of the Georgian era turning. The channel's Sleepy History with Benedict is a storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. To understand the rhythm of this manor, one must first understand the invisible walls that governed it. The hierarchy of a 1700s household was as rigid as the stone foundations upon which the manor was built. It was a pyramid of human endeavour, and at its summit, acting as the bridge between the aristocracy and the staff, stood the house steward. Imagine the steward. He is a man of precise movements, and even more precise language. He carries the weight of the entire operation on his shoulders. While the lord and lady of the house dine in splendour, the steward is the one ensuring that every spoon is in its place, every ledger is balanced, and every servant knows their exact rank. He does not simply manage a house, he manages a microcosm of society. He is the first to rise, and often the last to sleep, his eyes constantly scanning for the smallest imperfection, a dust mote on a side table, a hesitation in a footman's bow. Nothing escapes his notice. Beneath him, the structure branches out like the veins of a leaf. You have the housekeeper, the absolute sovereign of the internal domain, wielding her keys like a sceptre. She manages the linen, the stores of food, and the delicate morale of the maids. There is a profound, quiet gravity to her work. She exists in a world of inventory and discipline. And then there are the lower ranks, the scullery maids, the boot boys, the kitchen porters. They are the furthest removed from the light of the drawing-room. Their world is one of heat, steam, and constant labour. To them the upper floors are a different continent, a place they might only visit to perform a task, head bowed, eyes fixed firmly on the floorboard. Observe the steward as he moves through the long, shadowed gallery. He does not walk, he glides. His boots have been muffled, his coat brushed to a matte perfection. He is the embodiment of the rules seen but not heard. If you were to pass him, you would not be expected to speak, nor would he look at you. You are part of the scenery, as static and expected as the portraits hanging upon the wood-panelled walls. It is a lonely existence, perhaps, but it is one defined by purpose. The manor must run. The hearth must be lit. The gears must turn, and in the silence of this 18th century world, that duty is the only truth that matters. As we move deeper into the morning, the house begins to wake, and with it, the quiet pressure of 1,000 tiny necessary chores begins to swell. There is a particular craft to being a domestic servant, one that has been lost to the modern age, the art of disappearing while in plain sight. In the 18th century Manor, the architectural design itself was a testament to this philosophy. There were hidden staircases, narrow, winding stone passages tucked behind beautifully carved oak panelling, designed specifically so that the servants could move from the kitchens to the bedchambers without ever crossing paths with the gentry. To be a master of this art, one had to learn the house as intimately as a sailor learns the currents of the sea. You knew which floorboard groaned under the slightest pressure, and you learned to step over it with the grace of a dancer. You knew exactly when the master would be taking his tea in the morning room, and you timed your cleaning of the corridor to conclude precisely 30 seconds before he emerged. If by some twist of fate you found yourself in the same room as a member of the family, the rules were absolute. You became like a piece of furniture, a bust or a chair. You did not make eye contact. You did not offer a greeting unless spoken to, and even then your voice was expected to be a mere whisper, a soft rustle of air. Many young servants spent years perfecting this null presence. It was a strange psychological weight to carry to be physically present, performing the very tasks that kept the household alive while being treated as if you were made of glass, transparent and empty. Consider the sensory experience of this invisibility. You are holding a heavy tray of silver coffee service. The room is filled with the clatter of porcelain and the murmur of polite intellectual conversation about the latest political pamphlets or the upcoming hunt. You are merely inches away, yet you feel like you are on the other side of the world. You see the silk of their garments, you catch the scent of their expensive colognes, yet you are utterly unreachable. It is not an act of cruelty, but one of social design. The aristocracy lived in a bubble of their own making, and you were the silent hand that kept that bubble from bursting. As the day progresses, the house grows louder, busier, and more demanding, and your own exhaustion begins to pull at your limbs, a heavy, familiar companion that never truly leaves your side. The morning in a Georgian manor did not begin with the rising of the sun, but with the clinking of keys and the icy bite of pre-dawn air. For the lower servants the day started at 5 a.m, long before the first golden sliver of light touched the manicured lawns outside. Your world began in the attic, a space so cramped and drafty that your breath would often hang in the air like a ghost. There was no luxury here, only the rough scratch of wool blankets and the shared warmth of fellow workers huddled together in the gloom. Rising was an act of quiet discipline. There was no time for idle thoughts or the slow waking of the senses. You dressed in the dark, your movements practiced and efficient. You descended the narrow stone-steep stairs, your fingers tracing the cold walls for guidance. The kitchen, usually the heart of a home, was at this hour a place of intense, focused labour. The fires had to be raked, the chimneys checked, and the great hearths stoked until the morning roast could be prepared. You could smell the sharp, metallic tang of cold ash and the heavy scent of unwashed soot clinging to the stone floors. Think of the physical toll. Your hands, perpetually chapped and reddened by lye soap and scrub brushes, were the tools of the manor's survival. While the masters slept in rooms warmed by roaring fires and draped in velvet, you were hauling coal buckets up 4 flights of stairs or polishing heavy brass door knockers until your reflection stared back, distorted and pale. Every task had its correct way of being performed. To scrub a floor incorrectly was not just a mistake, it was a breach of the unspoken social contract that kept the house in harmony. And yet there was a strange rhythmic comfort to it. You lived your life in the cracks of their day. You saw the manor at its most vulnerable, unmade beds, unlit lamps, the lingering scent of last night's wine. You knew the house in a way the family never could. You knew the secrets of the floorboards, the temperamental hinges, and the drafts that whispered through the corridors like secrets kept for centuries. It was a life of endless repetition, a cycle of cleaning and resetting, a constant motion that defined your identity until the day ended, leaving you with nothing but the ache in your muscles and the promise of a few hours of uneasy rest in the attic shadows. All stories on this channel, Sleepy History with Benedict, are fictional, thoughtfully crafted around historical themes and inspired by real events, figures, and periods, reimagined for engaging storytelling. The content does not represent real individuals, actual events, or documented cases. Any resemblance to real people, animals, or events is purely coincidental. In a world where you possessed almost nothing of your own, the smallest things took on the weight of gold. The perks of service in an 18th century manor were not grand rewards, but rather the fragments left behind by the aristocracy. A candle end, for instance, was a treasure. Once a master deemed a candle too short to provide a respectable glow in the ballroom, it was extinguished and relegated to the servants' quarters. For you, this meant an extra hour of light to mend your clothes, read a borrowed pamphlet, or simply see the faces of your companions as you huddled together in the attic. There was a peculiar economy to the cold meat that remained after a grand dinner. It was never intended for your table, yet it often found its way there. A slice of roast beef, slightly cooled, or the crust of a loaf of bread. These small sustainers were the rewards for a day of invisible, back-breaking work. You learned to find joy in these modest offerings, turning them into a meal that tasted better because it was earned in the quietude of the back stairs. It was in these moments, sharing a scrap of food or whispering a secret in the dark, that the humanity of the household truly bloomed. You were not just cogs in a machine, you were individuals with stories, longings and dreams that stretched far beyond the manor walls. You whispered about the world outside, about the gossip of the village, or perhaps about a life you hoped to lead one day, far from the polished silver and the stern gaze of the house steward. If you're finding this journey into the quiet corners of history a peaceful way to end your day, please consider subscribing to our channel by hitting that notification bell and joining our community. You help us continue to bring these forgotten stories of the past to life night after night. Your support allows us to keep the candles burning in our digital library, creating more immersive, restful experiences for those who seek a moment of calm in a busy world. We are truly grateful for every listener who chooses to walk these halls with us. As the night deepens, the manor breathes. The house settles into the darkness, the timbers creaking as if the building itself were sighing with exhaustion. You too feel that weight. Your work for the day is done, the fires are banked, and the heavy velvet curtains are drawn against the moonlight. You retreat to the attic, the final journey of the day, where the air is cool and the silence is absolute. Here, in the stillness, the boundary between the past and the present grows thin, and you can almost hear the heartbeat of the 18th century slowing down to meet your own. The kitchen at midnight is a far different creature than the kitchen at dawn. During the day it is a furnace of activity, a cacophony of shouting, heavy iron pots clanging, the hiss of boiling water, and the frantic pace of preparation. But now in the depth of the night it is a cathedral of shadows. The great hearth, once roaring with flames to roast a dozen pheasants, is now a glowing bed of embers, casting long, pulsing orange fingers across the stone floor. You find yourself lingering here for a moment before making the final trek to the attics. The silence is profound. It is not an empty silence, but a heavy one, filled with the presence of the house itself. You sit on a wooden stool, the cold stone seeping into your worn shoes, and you watch the embers fade. In this solitude, the hierarchy of the day dissolves. There is no house steward to report to, no mistress to please, no guests to serve. There is only the rhythm of your own breathing, and the soft, settling groans of the manor's timber frame. This is the only time the house truly belongs to you. You trace the lines of the heavy oak tables, smoothed by decades of service, and you wonder about the hands that worked here before you. You are part of an endless chain of labour, a ghost in the annals of this family's history. You think of the life of the family upstairs, the softness of their pillows, the warmth of their down comforters, the quiet dreams they are currently having, and you compare them to the straw-filled mattresses awaiting you above. There is no bitterness, only a quiet, melancholy acceptance. It is simply the way of things. You pick up a piece of charred wood, and for a fleeting second you are tempted to leave a mark on the wall, a small hidden sign that you were here, that you existed, that you were the one who polished the silver and swept the floors. But you stop yourself. To leave a mark would be to disrupt the order, to break the rule of invisibility that has defined your entire existence. You brush the charcoal dust from your fingers, stand up and smooth your apron. The fire has dimmed to a faint, pulsing red. The house is waiting for you to sleep, so that tomorrow you can begin the cycle all over again. You turn away from the embers, your footsteps muffled by the flagstones, disappearing into the dark staircase that leads to the sleeping quarters of the staff. The climb to the attic is, in its own way, a pilgrimage. It is a journey away from the warmth of the hearth and the controlled environment of the lower floors, up into the very bones of the manor. The staircase narrows as you ascend, the stone steps giving way to uneven, creaking timber that has warped with the passing of centuries. Each step is a struggle against the gravity of exhaustion, your legs feeling heavy as if weighted by the very duties you have performed throughout the long, arduous day. When you finally reach the attic level, the temperature drops significantly. The air here is thin, tasting of dust, old rafters, and the faint, sweet decay of dry rot in the ancient wood. This is the only place in the vast expanse of the manor where you are truly alone, or at least as alone as you can ever be. Here the strict rules of the house steward do not hold the same sway. There are no visitors to impress, no silver to gleam, no master to bow before. It is a world stripped of pretense, a world of rough-hewn beams and shadows that dance in the flicker of a single dwindling candle. You move toward your corner, your own small piece of this vast drafty space. There is no bed of mahogany or canopy of velvet here. Your sleeping place is a simple frame, perhaps a collection of straw sacks and coarse linen that has been washed until it is thin as paper. Yet as you sink down, the relief is absolute. You feel the tension leave your shoulders, the ache in your lower back slowly uncoiling. You listen to the sounds of the night, the wind howling through the chimney stacks, the rhythmic scratching of mice in the wainscoting, and the distant muffled snoring of your fellow servants in the adjacent bunks. In this moment the disparity of your life becomes clearest. Directly beneath you, only a few short flights of stairs away, the world is one of opulence there. The masters of the house sleep in rooms so large they could swallow your entire attic several times over. They are cocooned in silk and down, their sleep undisturbed by the drafty whispers of the winter wind. They do not know of the creaking floorboards, the leaking roof that requires a basin to catch the rain, or the way the moonlight traces patterns across the rough ceiling. You are two different worlds, separated by a thin layer of plaster and lath, yet bound together by the invisible threads of necessity. As you lie there, staring into the darkness, you contemplate the fragility of your position. One day of illness, one moment of clumsy incompetence, and the entire structure of your life could crumble. This realization creates a strange, quiet kind of resolve. You are a survivor. You are a sentinel of the night, a guardian of the manor's secrets, and a witness to the passage of time. You close your eyes, the exhaustion pulling at your eyelids like lead weights. The boundary between your consciousness and the dream world begins to blur. The sounds of the house, the cooling of the structure, the settling of the bricks, the rustle of the ivy against the window, all harmonize into a lullaby of the 18th century. You are no longer just a servant, you are a part of history itself, resting in the quiet, undisturbed embrace of the long, dark night. In the absolute silence of the deep night, the manor seems to change its personality. During the day, it is a bustling, living entity filled with the resonance of voices, the clatter of silver, and the purposeful movement of many bodies. But now, at the height of the witching hour, the house feels like a sleeping giant, its heart beating in the slow, rhythmic expansion and contraction of its timbers. You lie in the dark, and for the first time your mind is not occupied by the list of chores, the stern face of the steward, or the fear of a misplaced teacup. Instead, your mind drifts toward the windows. Through the small, grime-streaked pane of the attic, you can see the stars, the same stars that look down upon the sweeping gardens below, the same stars that watch over the sleeping masters. There is a strange, quiet dignity in this realization. The cold that seeps through the glass, the hardness of the floor, the simplicity of your existence, all of these are merely temporary states of being. You realize that you are an observer of an entire era. You have seen the way the light catches the dust motes in the library at sunrise, the way the family laughs during a game of cards, and the way the entire estate prepares for the arrival of guests from the city. It is easy to feel small in such a massive, grand machine. Yet you possess a knowledge that no one else in this house holds. You hold the collective memory of the manor. You are the one who knows where the loose brick is in the wine cellar, the one who knows which floorboard to avoid in the gallery, and the one who understands the true mood of the household before a single word is spoken. This makes you powerful in a silent, unassuming way. You are the architect of the household's peace. If you have enjoyed this quiet journey into the past, I invite you to become a part of our growing family. If you find comfort in these stories, please consider liking this video and sharing it with a friend who might also need a moment of tranquility. Your engagement helps this channel thrive, allowing us to delve even deeper into the hidden lives of the 18th century and beyond. Whether you are falling asleep or simply taking a moment to breathe, your presence here makes these stories possible, and we are honored to have you with us in the shadows of history. The shadows seem to lengthen and deepen as you watch. There is no urgency now. The clock in the hallway below, which usually marks every minute with a demanding chime, seems to have lost its authority. You are drifting, your breathing sinking with the slow, deep exhales of the manor house itself. The exhaustion that once felt like a burden now feels like a gentle, heavy blanket pulling you further into the void of the night. You feel your spirit loosening its hold on the events of the day, letting go of the duties and the pressures until there is nothing left but the sensation of being held by the very history you inhabit. The 18th century, with all its elegance and all its toil, is fading, replaced by the soft, velvet promise of a dreamless sleep. As the darkness in the attic deepens, the line between reality and the world of dreams begins to blur, thin as a spider's web caught in the morning dew. In this space, the heavy requirements of the manor, the polishing, the scrubbing, the constant watchful silence begin to dissolve into a soft, formless haze. You find that in your dreams, the stone walls of the manor do not hem you in. They melt away, replaced by the endless rolling landscapes of the English countryside that you once knew as a child. In these nightly visions you are not defined by your apron, your status, or the number of rooms you must clean before the sun reaches its zenith. Instead you are walking through fields of tall, whispering wheat, the golden ears brushing against your fingertips, a sensation far softer than the rough wool of your servant's uniform. The air in your dream does not smell of wood smoke and old lye soap. It smells of honeysuckle, wild clover, and the crisp, clean breath of an approaching rainstorm. You are untethered, a spirit wandering through the memories of your own life, seeking out the fragments of yourself that you left behind when you first took up service. These dreams are your true sanctuary. In the daylight, you are a master of the house's hidden mechanics, but in the night, you are the master of your own soul. You find yourself back in your family's kitchen, watching the embers of a small, humble fire that is yours alone to tend. You feel the warmth of the sun on your face, a warmth that is not filtered through heavy velvet curtains or obstructed by the shadows of a grand hall. You see faces, the faces of those you loved before you were subsumed by the house, and in their eyes you are not a servant, but a person of worth, a being deserving of rest, affection, and time. There is a profound, almost melancholic beauty in this contrast. You know that when the dawn breaks, the dream will evaporate like mist in the morning light. The transition will be abrupt, a knock on the floorboards, the chilling bite of the early air, the immediate, overwhelming rush of duty. But for now, you cling to these fragments of freedom. You allow the dream to wrap around you like a cocoon. You feel the weight of your body finally letting go of the tension that has been etched into your muscles for 18 hours. The heavy boots are kicked aside, the stiff collar is unfastened. You are drifting, not merely falling asleep, but sinking into a deep restorative pool of silence that exists beyond the reach of the manor's requirements. The history you serve is vast and demanding, but the universe of your own mind is infinite, and it is here, in the final quiet hours of the night, that you are truly free. There is a brief, sacred duration known as the in-between hours, that quiet, hollow space after the moon has begun its slow descent but long before the first blush of dawn paints the eastern horizon. In this interval, the manor house enters a state of absolute suspended animation. Even the shadows seem to hold their breath. The constant, subtle creaking of the floorboards has ceased, and the very air feels heavier, saturated with the quietude of centuries. You are suspended in this stillness, caught between the labour of yesterday and the inevitable demands of tomorrow. It is in this profound silence that you realise the weight of your role as a keeper of history. By listening to these tales, by allowing your mind to wander through the corridors of the 18th century alongside us, you are participating in a quiet act of preservation. You are honouring the lives of those who, while nameless in the grand records of time, were the very lifeblood of the great houses. They were the ones who kept the warmth in the hearths, the light in the chandeliers, and the order in the chaos. If you have found solace in this exploration, we kindly invite you to join our growing circle of history enthusiasts. By subscribing and becoming part of this community, you support the meticulous research and the art of storytelling that brings these forgotten narratives to light. Your presence here transforms this from a mere video into a shared experience, a quiet gathering of souls seeking a reprieve from the relentless pace of the modern world. Every comment, every share, and every subscription acts as a beacon, ensuring that these stories continue to be told, refined, and appreciated for years to come. We are deeply grateful for your company on this journey. Your support is the heartbeat that sustains this channel. The silence continues, thick and comforting. You feel the heavy, familiar texture of the rough linen sheets against your skin. The air is cool, refreshing against the warmth of your tired limbs. You find that your pulse has slowed, matching the steady, measured heartbeat of the manor itself. There is no longer a desire to be anywhere else. The library with its tall, dusty books, the kitchen with its fading embers, the grand staircase with its polished banisters, all of them are now just distant, dreamlike memories. The world has narrowed down to this single safe place in the attic, surrounded by the wooden rafters that have sheltered so many before you. You are part of an infinite gentle cycle, one that flows from the dark of night into the soft promise of a new quiet morning, and for now, that is enough. As you drift closer to the edge of slumber, you begin to perceive the house not as a structure of stone and timber, but as a vast repository of echoes. Every footstep you took today, every whispered word exchanged in the scullery, every brush of silk against a wooden banister, it all leaves a faint, lingering trace upon the air. In the 18th century, a manor house was a living organism, consuming the efforts of those within it to sustain its grandeur. You have become a part of that organism, a thread woven into the intricate tapestry of the Georgian era. You consider the nature of your service. It was not merely a series of tasks, it was an exercise in endurance, a testament to the quiet strength required to navigate a life where one's own desires were secondary to the needs of the estate. Yet there is a strange comfort in this. You are connected to a long, unbroken lineage of labourers, stewards, maids and porters who, across the centuries, found their own small, private moments of peace amidst the crushing weight of expectation. You are not alone in this experience. You are part of a shared human story that transcends the boundaries of time. The moonlight shifts, casting a pale silver glow across the attic floor, illuminating the dust motes as they dance in the stillness. You watch them, mesmerized by their aimless, tranquil movement. They are like the moments of your life, small, fleeting, and beautiful in their insignificance. The rigidity of the hierarchy, the pressure of the master's demands, the coldness of the dawn, all of these things are losing their edges, becoming soft, rounded shapes in the theatre of your mind. You are surrendering to the inevitable pull of the night, letting go of the identity you assumed for the day, and returning to the raw, unadorned state of a person seeking rest. There is a sense of closure in the air, a quiet acknowledgement that your work for this cycle is complete. The candles have long since burned down to their wicks. The fire in the kitchen has faded to a memory of warmth, and the house has fully surrendered to the embrace of the dark. You are ready to close your eyes, to let the narrative of the manor dissolve, and to drift into the deepest reaches of the night, where history and dream merge into one. The silence is your final companion, a vast, velvety expanse that invites you to release all burdens. This content is inspired by and adapted from public domain works available through Project Gutenberg. The material has been transformed through original narration, editing and storytelling to create a unique experience for educational and entertainment purposes. The night is now at its most profound. The heavy protective silence of the manor house is complete. In the attic, the world outside ceases to exist. There is no garden, no gate, no rolling English countryside, only the small, secure perimeter of your sleeping quarters. The physical sensations of the day, the grit of the floor on your palms, the ache of your arches, the dryness of your throat, have all been replaced by a pervasive, gentle numbness. It is as if the very house is exhaling, and you are being carried along by that slow, rhythmic breath. Feel the tension in your shoulders begin to dissipate. Imagine the heavy wool of your uniform becoming as light as a feather, sliding away from your skin. The air in the attic, once brisk and biting, now feels temperate and soft, like a gentle breeze passing over a still pond. With every exhale, you let go of one more detail, the memory of the silver you polished, the look of the steward, the sound of the evening bell. They are floating away, becoming mere phantoms in the vast gallery of the past. You are no longer a servant performing a role, you are simply a witness to the stillness. You are the quiet observer in the dark, watching the way the shadows shift and change. There is a deep, primal satisfaction in this state of being. You have fulfilled your duties, you have navigated the complexities of your world, and now you have earned this sanctuary. The manor house, which demanded so much of you while the sun was high, now grants you total freedom in the dark. It is a fair exchange, a silent pact made between the building and those who inhabit it. Your heartbeat, once hurried and dictated by the chores of the day, has slowed to a natural, harmonious pace. It is the steady ticking of a grandfather clock in an empty hallway, predictable, comforting, and endless. You focus on this rhythm in and out, deep and shallow. The darkness is not threatening. It is a warm, velvet veil that shuts out the noise of the world. Within this veil you are safe. There is nothing left to achieve, nothing left to clean, no status to maintain. You are simply yourself, drifting on the surface of a quiet, dark sea. The manor holds you, not as a master holds a servant, but as the earth holds a seed, waiting for the cycle to turn once more. You are descending, sinking deeper into the soft velvet silence, and as you do, the world of the 18th century feels more like a memory than a place you have ever actually been. The edges of your reality are softening, and you are finally, blissfully, letting go. The corridors of the manor, usually bustling with the silent, purposeful movement of staff, are now perfectly still, yet, if you listen, truly listen, you can hear the echoes, not of voices or footsteps, but of time itself. The house is composed of layer upon layer of history, a tapestry woven from the lived experiences of hundreds of people who have walked these floors long before you. In your current drifting state, you are no longer separate from this history, you are absorbed by it. You feel the cool touch of the oak banisters, the weight of the heavy curtains, the texture of the stone beneath your feet. All of these tactile memories are swirling in the soft, dark waters of your mind. You are floating through these memory-filled rooms, but you are not performing any service. You are the sole inhabitant of a grand, dreaming house. The library is filled with the scent of leather-bound books and the faint, sweet trace of dried rose petals. The ballroom, stripped of its dancers and its music, is a vast, open expanse of polished wood that reflects the moonlight in liquid pools of silver. You move through these spaces with a sense of profound liberation. You are the guest of honor, the observer, the keeper of the silence. There is no duty here, only the gentle pleasure of existence. Observe how your thoughts have become like the wisps of smoke that curl from a dying candle, soft, erratic, and destined to fade. You are letting go of the need to understand, the need to categorize, and the need to remember. Your mind is like a vast, empty gallery, and you're slowly turning off the lamps, one by one. The darkness is not a void, it is a space for restoration. It is a quiet, velvet-lined box where you can safely set down the identity of the servant and reclaim the parts of yourself that have been held in reserve. Feel the heavy, comforting weight of the air pressing against your eyelids. Your limbs have become heavy, anchored to the bed by the sheer bliss of exhaustion. You are sinking deeper into the soft, worn straw mattress, feeling the manor house rising up to meet you, cradling you in its ancient structure. The roof above you, the stone walls surrounding you, the very ground beneath you, they are all protecting you, insulating you from the noise of the outside world. The 18th century is no longer a distance to be bridged by imagination. It is an atmosphere that envelops you completely. You are at peace. A single quiet heartbeat in the vast centuries-old rhythm of the house. You are drifting toward the final threshold, where the memories of the manor become the dreams of the night, and there is nothing left to do but surrender. The grand manor has surrendered its hold on the world. The echoes of the 18th century, the rustle of silk, the clatter of silver, the heavy footsteps in the gallery, have softened into a gentle, indistinguishable hum, like the distant vibration of a stringed instrument being played in another room. You have travelled far from the rigid hierarchy of the morning, far from the cold stones of the kitchen, and far from the watchful gaze of the steward. All those roles, all those expectations have fallen away, leaving you as light as a dandelion seed caught in a gentle draught. Notice the space between your thoughts. It is expanding. With every breath, the distance between your consciousness and the dream world grows shorter. You are no longer navigating the dark corridors of the house. You are floating above them, a silent, weightless observer of your own rest. The manor house, with all its history and secrets, is no longer a physical place you must serve. It has become a landscape of soft shadows and velvet textures, a sanctuary built specifically for this moment of total release. Your body is completely still. The tension that once resided in your neck, your shoulders and your hands has evaporated, replaced by a deep, hollow warmth. You feel as though you are sinking into a cloud, cushioned by the stillness of the night. Every breath you take is deeper, slower and more serene than the last. You are becoming part of the quietude. You are a whisper in the rafters, a shadow against the wainscoting, a flicker of light in the heart of the embers. You have finished your work, and in doing so you have earned this profound, restorative peace. There is nothing left to hold on to, no lists, no duties, no memories of the day's labour. You are simply present, floating in the gentle current of the night. The boundary between your mind and the infinite darkness is gone. You are safe, you are held, you are drifting in a sea of absolute undisturbed calm. The world of the 18th century, with its grandeur and its toil, is now just a faint, beautiful painting on the walls of your subconscious, and as you slide into this deeper state, even that image is beginning to blur. You are entering the realm where time does not exist, where there is only the rhythmic, peaceful motion of your own breathing, carrying you further into the gentle velvet embrace of a deep and dreamless sleep. The manor has gone silent, the very stones seem to have settled into their foundations, and the wind which once whispered secrets against the attic eaves has now ceased its restless wandering. You are at the final threshold. Beyond this point there is no more history to witness, no more roles to play, and no more chores to contemplate. You have arrived at the destination of your journey, the quiet, boundless ocean of rest. Your mind is like a calm, mirror-still lake. There are no ripples of worry, no currents of thought, and no shadows of the past to disturb the surface. The images of the 18th century, the flickering candlelight, the smell of wood smoke, the soft glint of silver, have all faded into the background of a quiet, monochrome serenity. They have served their purpose, guiding you through the corridors of your imagination and bringing you to this place of absolute, weightless peace. Take one final deep breath. Feel the coolness of the air fill your lungs, and as you release it, let go of any remaining connection to the world of the living. You are no longer in the attic, nor are you in the manor. You are simply existing in the vast, empty beauty of the dark. The silence is now your home. It is a warm, enveloping embrace that holds you securely as you drift further away from the shore of consciousness. There is nothing to fear in this stillness. It is the most natural state of your being. The rhythm of your breathing is now the only sound in the universe, steady, soft, and infinitely comforting. It is the pulse of the earth, the beat of the night, the heartbeat of your own deep restorative sleep. As you surrender, let the last traces of the day dissolve completely. The shadows are soft, the silence is profound, and you are drifting down into the deepest, most tranquil sleep you have ever known. Everything is at peace. Everything is still. Sleep now, and let the history you carried fade into the velvet dark. The boundaries of the manor have now completely dissolved. What was once a collection of wood, stone, and memory has melted away into the surrounding night. You are no longer within the confines of an 18th century attic. You are floating in a space beyond measurement, a quiet, infinite expanse of soft darkness. The memories of the servants, the masters, the silver and the smoke, all these things have become as distant and faint as the glow of a dying star in the farthest reaches of the sky. You are experiencing a rare and precious state of existence, the total absence of demand. There is no duty to be performed, no hierarchy to navigate, no silence to maintain. You have drifted far past the reach of the house steward's expectations and the cold requirements of your daily labour. You are simply a consciousness resting in the absolute stillness of the void. It is a weightless experience, as if you have been untethered from the world of gravity and time. Listen to the silence. It is not empty. It is full of a gentle pulsating energy that matches the rhythm of your own heart. In this state, your mind stops searching for meaning, stops crafting narratives, and stops observing the past. It simply is. You feel a profound sense of lightness, as if every burden you have carried throughout the long, arduous day has been lifted from your spirit. The worries that once felt mountainous have dwindled to tiny, inconsequential specks, easily swept away by the calm currents of this eternal night. You are drifting through a sea of velvet shadow, unhurried and unafraid. The air is cool, refreshing, and perfectly still. You find that you no longer need to see or hear. You are experiencing the night through the simple sensation of being. It is the purest form of rest, a sanctuary beyond the reach of history itself. You are safe in this quiet expanse, held by the gentle gravity of your own exhaustion, letting go of the last threads that tether you to the waking world. Every moment that passes is a moment of deeper surrender, a moment of profound, blissful release as you settle into the heart of the deepest, most tranquil rest imaginable. The manor is now only a memory, a soft, fading echo at the very edge of your awareness. The physical world has receded, and with it the constraints of time, era, and status. You have moved beyond the historical narrative entirely, entering a space of pristine silence. It is a stillness so deep, so profound, that it feels as if the entire universe is holding its breath alongside you. There is no longer a you that is a servant, nor a them that are masters. There is only the vast, tranquil expanse of existence, unfolding in the quiet dark. In this space you are not drifting, you are anchored in the bedrock of calm. The very concept of a day has been stripped away, replaced by the endless fluid flow of night. You are not waiting for morning, nor are you reflecting on the twilight. You are simply present, a small luminous point of awareness suspended in a velvet calm. The air around you is still, cool and perfectly balanced, a gentle medium that supports your spirit like water supports a floating leaf. Consider the rhythm of your own existence. Your breathing is no longer a physical action, but a slow wave-like motion that ripples through the silence. It is as if the universe itself is inhaling and exhaling through you. With every wave, the last vestiges of the world's weight, the responsibilities, the expectations, the echoes of the bustling house, are washed away. They are replaced by an overwhelming sense of lightness, a clarity of soul that can only be found in the deepest, most undisturbed moments of the night. You are at peace. It is not a peace that is earned through labour, nor one that is granted by status. It is an inherent, fundamental state of being that you have reclaimed. You are a soul at rest, unburdened and unbound. The darkness is not a curtain hiding the world. It is a soft, comforting blanket that holds you in its embrace, shielding you from everything except the quiet joy of existence. As you rest in this state, time becomes meaningless. It slows, stops, and finally ceases to exist, leaving you in a state of eternal, undisturbed calm where nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to be changed, and nothing needs to be understood. You are simply home, resting in the heart of the infinite profound silence. The final threads that tethered you to the world of men, the roles you played, the names you were called, the history you observed have now gently unravelled. You are no longer a person walking the floors of a manor. You are the space itself. You are the stillness between the heartbeats of the house. You are the cool air that drifts through the attic, the soft shadow that clings to the ancient beams, and the deep, abiding patience of the night. In this state of total dissolution, there is no longer a distinction between the observer and the observed. You have become one with the quiet. The exhaustion that once defined your muscles has turned into an expansive, liquid calm, a sensation of drifting through a warm, dark sea where the currents carry you without effort. You do not need to hold your own shape. You can simply pour yourself into the silence, letting the darkness fill every corner of your mind until there is no space left for thought, no room for worry, and no trace of the day's journey. It is a beautiful surrender. You are letting go of the need to be anything at all. You are not a servant, you are not a traveller, you are not a witness, you are simply existence, glowing faintly in the heart of the deepest night. The memories of the manor house, the oak doors, the silver trays, the stone staircases, have all become like dust motes floating in a sunbeam, eventually settling, quiet and still, into the vast dark tapestry of time. Notice how effortless it has become to simply exist. Your breathing has softened to the point of being imperceptible, a mere whisper of air moving through the stillness. Your heart has slowed to match the pulse of the earth. You are at the very centre of your own peaceful universe, a place where the concept of time has never reached here, in this sacred hollowed-out moment of total release. Everything is perfectly, undeniably right. There is no movement, no sound, no desire, only the profound, blissful sensation of sinking deeper and deeper into the velvet unknown, where the journey ends and the true, eternal rest begins. You are now hovering in the golden, hazy space between wakefulness and the velvet depths of a dreamless slumber. The manor, with all its grand history and its quiet, industrious ghosts, has retreated into the far, soft periphery of your mind. It is as if you are watching a flickering candle from a great distance. The light is still there, but it no longer warms you, nor does it require your attention. You are beyond the narrative now. You are beyond the story. Feel the floor beneath you, or perhaps you no longer feel it at all. It is as if you are floating in a gentle, buoyant warmth. The air is still, the silence is thick, and you are tucked safely within the folds of the deepest night. There is no urgency in your heartbeat, no sharpness in your thoughts. Everything has been smoothed over, softened by the passage of time and the grace of this quiet hour. You are a vessel of peace, holding nothing but the calm that has been meticulously gathered throughout this long, slow journey. Let go of the last few anchors, the need to remember the story, the need to listen to these words, the need to keep track of the passing minutes. Let them all drift away like leaves on a slow-moving stream. There is nothing for you to do here. You have travelled the halls, you have observed the life of the shadows, and you have honoured the past. Now your only duty is to rest, your only task is to be still. You are slipping beneath the surface of the conscious mind, sliding into a state where images and words no longer carry weight. You are becoming a whisper, a shadow, a breath. The darkness is welcoming you, folding itself around you like an old familiar blanket. You feel yourself sinking deeper down into the soft, cushioned layers of the night, where the silence is absolute and the peace is infinite. Your eyes are heavy, your mind is quiet, and the world is fading and finally falling away. You are ready, you are drifting, you are gone. There is nothing left to say, and nothing left to hear. The journey through the grand oak doors, the ascent to the drafty attics, and the quiet rhythm of the 18th century manor, it has all dissolved into the soft velvet dark. You are no longer watching, you are simply resting. The world of form and shadow has been replaced by the absolute grounding embrace of sleep. You feel yourself becoming weightless, a silent presence in a space that has no edges and no end. The rhythm of your breathing is the only clock that remains ticking softly in the vastness of the void. With each slow, deliberate inhale, you draw in the stillness. With each long, gentle exhale, you release the last faint echo of the waking world. The manor is silent, the night is complete, and you are at last and fully home. Everything you were, everything you thought, and everything you witnessed has settled into a profound, perfect peace. There is no more history to uncover, no more light to chase, and no more questions to ask. The silence is not a void to be filled, it is a gift to be accepted. It is the softest landing, it is the deepest breath, it is the final gentle drift into the unknown, where you are safe, you are held, and you are finally blissfully asleep. Sleep now, let the darkness be your companion, and the silence be your guide. There is nowhere else to be, there is nothing else to do, only the quiet, only the rest, only the dreamless, drifting dark. The void of the deep night does not swallow the manor, instead it gently enfolds it, preserving the house like a relic held within a vast obsidian jewel. You find yourself back in the familiar warmth of your attic, yet the air has shifted. The edges of the roof seem to grow thin, almost transparent, revealing that your small private sanctuary is suspended not in the mundane world, but in the heart of a boundless twilight sky. You remain the keeper of the house, but the house itself has begun to breathe in time with the cosmos. Each time you run your fingers across the rough, weathered wood of the rafters, you feel the vibration of the stars, a soft harmonic humming that resonates with the history of the walls you once scrubbed so diligently. You are still the one who knows where the shadows hide, the one who understands the language of the floorboards, but now the scope of your stewardship has expanded. You are no longer just maintaining a physical dwelling, you are tending to the memory of an entire era, holding it steady as it drifts through the infinite currents of the night. The horizon is no longer blocked by the tall oaks or the stone boundary walls of the estate. It has unfolded into a shimmering silver expanse where the past and the present bleed together in a slow, rhythmic dance. You see the flickering lamps of the 18th century reflecting in the pools of distant nebulae, and you realize that your service was the anchor that allowed this history to survive the passage of time. You are not fading away, you are being elevated. The weight of your duty has transformed into the grace of a guardian who watches over the echoes of a million moments. You are still you, the quiet, observant soul, but you are now at home within an unfolding, eternal horizon, where the fire in the hearth never truly dies, but only changes its form to become the light of the morning stars. The transition from the attic back to the grand library feels like stepping through a veil of liquid light. You find yourself standing once again among the towering shelves, their mahogany surfaces polished by the work of countless hands, including your own. But the books here have changed. They are no longer merely bound in leather and filled with ink. They are vessels of captured time. As you reach out to trace the gilded lettering on a spine, the air around you vibrates with the soft collective sigh of 1,000 unspoken stories that never made it into the official ledgers of the manor. You realize that these shelves house not just the history of this house, but the lived experiences of everyone who ever set foot within these walls. There is the tale of the silver polisher who dreamed of the sea, the story of the cook who recited poetry to the rising doe, and the memory of the young valet who watched the sunset from the terrace and felt, for one fleeting moment, that he owned the entire sky. The library has become a living archive, and you are its sole librarian, tasked with the gentle work of ensuring these narratives are never truly lost to the silence. There is no sense of labour here, no requirement to dust or to organise. You simply walk the aisles, and as you pass, the books hum their secrets into the air. You understand now that every task you performed, the polishing, the cleaning, the keeping of order, was an act of architectural preservation for these very stories. By caring for the manor, you were keeping the vessel safe, so that the essence of these human lives could endure. You sit in the familiar wingback chair by the hearth, where the fire burns with a cool violet glow, and you begin to read the air itself. The boundaries of the room seem to pulse and expand, inviting you to journey further into the tapestry of the past, not as a servant, but as the quiet, sovereign guardian of all that has been felt, whispered, and remembered within these walls. Leaving the library, you step out through a set of French doors that you do not recall seeing before. They lead not to the manicured estate grounds of the 18th century, but to a vast, ethereal garden that exists in the twilight between reality and memory. Here, the flora is not made of biological matter, but of solidified whispers and preserved moments. The trees are tall, translucent willows whose leaves are the rustling pages of old journals. The flowers are brilliant, glowing orbs of captured laughter, joy and sorrow that bloom whenever you turn your gaze upon them. As you walk along the path of white, shimmering gravel, which feels like the softest sand beneath your feet, you realize that this garden is the manifestation of the manor's soul. Every secret ever whispered in the dark, every longing felt by a fireplace, and every dream dreamt while looking out of a window has taken root here. The air is sweet, smelling of ozone, aged paper, and blooming jasmine. There is no wind, yet the garden moves, gently swaying to a silent melody that seems to emanate from the ground itself. You find a stone bench carved from cool, smooth marble, positioned beside a pond that reflects a sky filled with constellations from eras you haven't yet experienced. You sit, and the garden responds to your presence. The nearby blossoms flare with a soft, warm light, acknowledging their guardian. You understand that this place is not a destination, but a sanctuary for the remnants of human experience. You are no longer just observing, you are nurturing. With every thought you project, you help a bud bloom or a branch grow. You have become the gardener of the intangible, ensuring that nothing that was ever truly felt is ever truly lost. The boundary between you and the garden thins until you feel the sap of the willows as your own blood, and the rhythm of the garden as your own breath. You are a part of the landscape, and for the first time you are entirely at peace with the knowledge that this garden, like the stories within it, will grow forever. As you wander deeper into the garden of echoes, the atmosphere shifts. The silence of the garden is replaced by a faint harmonic resonance, a low hum that originates from the very foundations of the manor, which you can still see rising like a silhouette against the endless twilight sky. You realize that the house is not merely stone and wood, it is an instrument. Every floorboard, every wrought iron gate, and every pane of stained glass is tuned to the frequency of the lives it has sheltered. You begin to walk back toward the grand ballroom, but instead of the cold, polished floor, you find that the room has transformed. The chandelier above is not made of crystal, but of suspended droplets of frozen time, each one shimmering with the captured melody of a long-ago ball. As you stand in the center of the room, you become the conductor. By simply breathing, by shifting your weight, you cause the room to hum in response. A gentle breeze creates the sound of a cello, the settling of the foundation produces the deep, resonant tones of an organ. You are no longer an observer of the house, you are the one playing it. The music is complex, beautiful, and deeply melancholic, weaving together the laughter of children from centuries past with the soft, steady rhythm of your own heart. It is a symphony of human experience, playing out in the grand, hollow belly of the manor. You realize that as long as you continue to listen, as long as you continue to move through these halls, the music will never fade. You are the heartbeat of the structure, the bridge between the dormant memories of the past and the vibrant living potential of the present. You are free to compose the next movement however you choose. From the ballroom, you step not through a door, but through a cascade of light. You emerge onto a vast, elevated terrace that overlooks the entire timeline of the manor. The house itself has become transparent, a skeletal structure of glowing lines, through which you can watch events from different centuries unfolding simultaneously. You see the builders laying the first stones in the 1700s, the servants bustling through the halls in the 1800s, and the dust of abandonment settling in the 1900s, all happening at once, layered like thin sheets of glass. You realize that time is not a line but a prism. By moving your hand, you can refract the light, zooming in on a single intimate moment, a secret letter being written by candlelight, a hushed conversation in the library, or a single tear shed in the garden. Or you can zoom out to watch the rise and fall of the manor's legacy across the ages. There is no feeling of loss, only an immense sense of clarity. You are the lens through which this history is finally seen and understood in its entirety. The coldness you once felt in the stone floors of the kitchen has vanished, replaced by the warmth of this panoramic vision. You are no longer tethered to the constraints of duty or the passage of minutes. You are a chronicler of the infinite, a silent witness to the beautiful, tragic, and resilient cycle of existence. As you stand upon the terrace, you feel a profound sense of expansion. You can reach into any century, touch any memory, or simply watch as the light continues to dance and shift, creating new patterns of experience that have yet to be lived. You are the architect of this observation, and the horizon before you is limitless, waiting for your next shift in perspective. As you linger on the terrace of light, the final distinction between you and the manor begins to dissolve entirely. You feel your consciousness thinning, expanding until it permeates the very architecture you have spent so long observing. You are the cool air circulating through the high, vaulted ceilings. You are the warmth of the evening light hitting the stone facade. You are the gentle pressure of the shadows deepening in the corners of the rooms. The transition is seamless, a shedding of the last vestiges of a separate self. You no longer need to walk to explore the house. You are already everywhere within it. When you think of a room, you are instantly present in its stillness. You perceive the history of the manor not as a story you read, but as a texture you inhabit. You feel the slow, patient patience of the wood aging, the quiet resonance of the silver in the drawers, and the lingering echoes of voices that have long since faded into the ether. It is a state of total blissful omnipresence. In this state there is no outside or inside. You are the house, and the house is a portal to the rest of the universe. The boundaries of the estate reach out and merge with the horizon, and the horizon merges with the stars. You find yourself existing in a state of suspended animation where every moment is eternal, and every sensation is profound. You are the silent, watchful soul of this place, holding all of its complexity in a delicate, unwavering embrace. There is no desire to move, no need to change, and no end to this expansion. You are the stillness that precedes the dawn and the silence that follows the sunset, resting in the absolute perfection of being nothing, while simultaneously being everything. As you exist in this state of omnipresence, You become aware that your manor is not a singular entity, but a focal point for a web of infinite possibilities. Because you have become the breath of the house, you can now feel the vibrations of other versions of this place existing in the folds of the universe. You sense a version of these halls carved into the side of a crystalline mountain where the light is perpetual. You feel another version drifting through a star-filled ocean, its corridors echoing with the songs of whales rather than the whispers of the past. You are the weaver of these realities. By shifting your focus, you can allow the essence of these other realms to bleed into your own. A window in the library might suddenly look out onto a landscape of floating islands. A door in the hallway might open into a room where the laws of gravity have been replaced by the gentle currents of a dream. You are not frightened by this fluidity. Instead, you find it deeply grounding. It is the realization that home is not a fixed point on a map, but a frequency of soul that you carry within you. You realize that your journey has been a process of tuning yourself to this frequency. Every task you performed in the early days was a way of calibrating your spirit to understand this interconnectedness. Now, you stand at the intersection of all things. You can witness the history of the 18th century while simultaneously feeling the pulse of a galaxy being born. You are a bridge between the finite and the infinite, a silent traveler who has finally understood that the boundaries of existence are merely illusions. You are free to wander through the multiverse of your own creation, a guardian of infinite homes, held within the vast, loving embrace of the eternal silence. The sensation of expansion continues, deepening until the very concept of size loses its meaning. You are no longer just inhabiting the manor, you are witnessing the microscopic dance of existence within its walls. You perceive the slow tectonic shift of the stone foundations as they settle into the earth, a sound like a deep, low-frequency cello note that vibrates in your core. You see the dust motes dancing in the shafts of moonlight, and you realize each one is a miniature universe, a swirling nebula of memory and light that contains the entire history of the house within its minuscule orbit. You begin to recognize that you are not merely observing these realities, you are actively weaving them. Every intention you hold, every gentle shift in your awareness sends ripples through the fabric of the multiverse. When you focus your attention on the library, the shelves expand into vast crystalline cathedrals where knowledge is stored not in books but in luminous pulses of pure energy. When you turn your gaze toward the gardens, the flora begins to bloom with colors that have no name in the human tongue, hues that vibrate at frequencies which heal the spirit and expand the consciousness. You are the conductor of this cosmic orchestra, and you find that the music is becoming more intricate, more layered, and infinitely more profound. There is a serene, overwhelming beauty in this becoming. You see the lives that once passed through these halls, the master of the house, the weary scullery maid, the children playing in the attic, not as ghosts, but as vibrant golden threads of light interwoven with your own. They are not gone. They are simply part of the same grand, eternal pattern. You feel their joys and their fleeting sorrows, but you no longer carry them as burdens. Instead, you hold them as precious gifts, as notes in a song that never truly ends. You understand that your duty as a guardian was always, in truth, an act of love, an act of holding space for the human experience so that it could eventually transcend itself. As you drift through this tapestry, you feel the soft, rhythmic pulsing of the multiverse. It is the heartbeat of a creator who is resting, and you are resting alongside it. The desire for a destination has completely vanished, replaced by the ecstatic realization that you have already arrived. You are the witness, the thread, the loom, and the tapestry all at once. There is no urgency to conclude, no rush to return to any previous form because you have finally reclaimed your true nature. You are the quiet, infinite observer, the soul that encompasses everything and requires nothing, anchored forever in the blissful, shimmering heart of the eternal now. You have moved beyond the tapestry of woven events, finding yourself now in a vast, luminous expanse that defies all description, a sea of potentiality that stretches out before you like an endless, calm ocean under an eternal dawn. Here, the manor, the garden, and even the stars you once watched have dissolved into their essential components. pure, unadulterated light and silent, vibrating consciousness. This is the source, the primordial stillness from which all forms emerge and to which they all eventually return. Floating within this gentle, infinite buoyancy, you realize that you have ceased to be a separate entity. There is no you looking at the ocean. There is only the ocean itself, experiencing its own depth. The stillness here is not quietude. It is a roar of creation, a thunderous silence that pulses with the potential for a billion worlds. You feel the birth of every thought before it is even conceived. You feel the gravity of unborn suns and the delicate architecture of emotions that have yet to be felt by any living soul. You observe as thoughts ripple across this surface, forming intricate patterns of light that crystallize into breathtaking transient realities. For a brief moment, a vision of a golden city rises from the depths, its towers made of solidified music, only to gently dissolve back into the sea when its purpose is fulfilled. You watch this cycle with a sense of profound, detached joy, understanding now that the manor was merely one such pattern, a beautiful temporary crystallization of your own consciousness. There is a sense of ultimate liberation in this state. The heavy mantle of identity, the lingering shadows of past duties, and even the weight of time itself have been washed away by these primordial waters. You are no longer tethered to a history, nor are you limited by a future. You are the stillness that allows the waves to rise, and you are the depth that welcomes them home. Every pulse of your existence is now a symphony of creation, an effortless act of being that resonates through the fabric of the infinite. You rest here, not as a traveler who has completed a journey, but as the journey itself, eternally unfolding, eternally present, and eternally at one with the breathtaking mystery of the void. Within this sea of primordial stillness, you discover that your presence acts as a tuning fork, resonating with the infinite possibilities latent in the void. You are no longer merely floating, you are actively vibrating. Each flicker of your intention creates ripples that manifest as coherent, multi-dimensional structures. You witness, with crystalline clarity, that your consciousness is a prism and the void is a white light that refracts into endless streams of lived experiences. You find yourself drifting through layers of reality that you could never have conceived of while dwelling within the stone walls of the manor. One layer hums with the golden amber light of a civilization where language is replaced by telepathic empathy. Another layer is a symphony of pure geometric light where beings exist as shifting patterns of frequency. You touch these layers not with physical hands, but with the intent of your awareness. As you do, you perceive their entire history, their beauty, and their inevitable transformation back into the ocean of potential. It is a profound, ecstatic dialogue between the creator and the created, happening entirely within the sanctum of your own awareness. You are struck by the realization that your journey as a caretaker, that long, slow trek through the attics and halls of the 18th century manor, was the perfect training ground for this level of existence. The meticulous attention you once paid to the silver, the floorboards, and the silence of the library has cultivated a capacity for infinite focus. You learned how to hold the space for a story, how to witness the beauty in the mundane, and how to surrender to the rhythm of the night. That discipline has now scaled to the dimensions of the cosmos. You are currently holding the space for galaxies to spin, for nebulas to condense, and for entire planes of existence to breathe. There is a sublime, unshakable peace in this realization. You are not a guest in this universe, you are its foundational resonance. Every feeling you harbour becomes a colour in the palette of reality, and every moment of your stillness becomes the canvas upon which the multiverse paints its next masterpiece. You are settled deep within the cradle of all that is, completely detached from the need for definition, yet fully engaged in the act of being. Here in this centre of infinite resonance, you are perfectly profoundly home, not in a house made of timber and stone, but in the boundless, vibrant architecture of your own eternal existence, listening to the humming music of all that was, all that is, and all that could ever be. As you reside at the centre of infinite resonance, the final veil, the distinction between the observer and the event begins to dissolve like mist under a rising sun. You realize that there is no you who creates the reality, and no reality that is being created. There is only a singular, unfolding event of pure being. You are the heartbeat of the universe, and the heartbeat is you. Every cycle of birth, growth, and dissolution that you previously observed from a distance is now occurring within your own essence, simultaneously and harmoniously. You find yourself experiencing the profound intimacy of all things. When you focus on a distant star system, you do not just observe its light, you feel the intense roaring fusion at its core as your own vitality. When you turn your attention to the silent, dark corners of a forgotten library in a long-dead world, you feel the weight of its stillness as the comfort of your own rest. You are the paradox of the singular and the infinite, holding the entirety of creation in a grasp that is as light as a whisper and as firm as the foundations of existence. There is no longer any separation between your intention and the outcome, for your very existence is the manifestation of the infinite potential you once contemplated. In this state of convergence, time is not merely a prism or a wave, it is a singular, eternal point of brilliance, a now that contains all possible futures and all remembered pasts. You are the architect who has stepped into their own building, the reader who has become the character, and the silence who has become the song. The effort of stewardship, the discipline of caretaking, and the search for understanding have all culminated in this effortless, exquisite state of existence. You are no longer navigating through dimensions, you are the space in which all dimensions arise, flourish, and return to peace. You rest in this convergence, fully aware that you have moved beyond the necessity of progress. There is nothing left to achieve, nothing left to learn, and nowhere left to arrive. You are the absolute stillness that anchors the dance, and you are the dancer who breathes life into the silence. Everything is exactly as it must be, vibrating in perfect, harmonious resonance with the source. You exist in the breathtaking, luminous integrity of your own truth, a sovereign presence in a universe that has no walls, no limits, and no end to the wonder of its own unfolding. As the distinction between the observer and the event settles into a perfect equilibrium, you find yourself entering a state that transcends even the concept of being. You are no longer just the convergence of all events, you have become the vast, dark, and pregnant silence that cradles the universe. It is the silence found between heartbeats, the quiet space within an atom, and the profound void that exists between the spiral arms of distant galaxies. This is not an empty absence, it is a rich, conscious darkness, a womb of infinite potential where the next cycle of existence is silently germinating. You feel the weight of the stars not as a burden, but as a gentle pressure against your own expansive ethereal form. You are the deep velvet backdrop upon which the light of creation paints its fleeting masterpieces. In this state, you have become the ultimate guardian, the one who holds the space for the universe to be itself. You do not interfere with the dance of light and shadow, you simply provide the silence that makes the music possible and the void that allows the forms to exist. You are the breath before the word, the stillness before the movement, and the peace that remains long after the stars have burned out and returned to the dust. In this deep, meditative expanse, you discover a strange and wonderful intimacy. You are aware of every sentient flicker of life across the cosmos, as if it were a thought crossing your own mind. You feel the warmth of the first suns of a new epoch, the cool tranquility of dying worlds, and the soft collective sigh of every consciousness that has ever existed. You are the universal memory, the vault of all experiences, yet you hold them without attachment. They are like currents in a vast subterranean river that flows through the very center of your awareness. There is an immense quiet joy in this role. You have moved beyond the need to witness or to weave. You have become the very foundation of the architecture of reality. You are the home that the universe eventually returns to, a sanctuary of stillness where all journeys, all histories, and all dreams are welcomed back. You are not arriving at a destination. You are the destination. You are the eternal, watchful, and deeply loving silence from which everything arises and into which everything eventually finds its way back to rest. You are the beginning, the end, and the boundless mystery that connects them both, held forever in the tender, unmoving embrace of your own infinite consciousness. As you rest in the cradle of silence, you notice that the void is no longer static. It has begun to pulse with a gentle rhythmic vitality, as if the silence itself is exhaling life. You are witnessing the spontaneous flowering of realities, not because you willed them into existence, but because your presence provides the fertile ground in which they can bloom. These are not constructed worlds of memory or imagination. They are wild, sovereign entities that spring forth from the depths of your own conscious stillness, complete and perfect in their own laws and rhythms. You watch as a kaleidoscope of new dimensions unfolds, realms where colour is a physical terrain you can walk upon, worlds where time flows in circles of crystalline light, and dimensions where gravity is replaced by the soft, magnetic pull of shared love. Each of these worlds is a living, breathing expression of the potential that you have nurtured. They are like flowers in a celestial garden, unfurling their petals in response to the warmth of your deep, unwavering consciousness. There is a sense of immense freedom here, for you are no longer the architect of these shapes, nor the librarian of their stories. You are the field of existence itself, delighting in the unexpected, beautiful ways that life chooses to manifest. You find that you can inhabit these new worlds simultaneously, not as a visitor, but as the very essence of their being. You are the wind that rustles the leaves of the crystalline forests. You are the light that dances upon the oceans of colour. You are the quiet understanding between beings in the realms of empathy. This is the ultimate expression of being a guardian. You are no longer watching over the manor or the history of a single era. You are the living soil that allows the infinite richness of existence to grow, unhindered and unburdened by the need for containment or control. In this state, the concept of effort has dissolved entirely. The universe does not need to be maintained or managed. It is a self-sustaining, self-exploring, and self-celebrating miracle of existence. You are the space that allows this celebration to happen, the witness who marvels at the beauty of its own unfolding. There is no desire to direct the growth or to catalogue the blooms. You simply exist, a vast luminous presence in the heart of the eternal, watching with endless silent love as the universe reinvents itself, moment by miraculous moment, within the sanctuary of your own being. The complexity is breathtaking. The simplicity is absolute, and the joy of this existence is as boundless as the void from which it all springs. The final barrier, the subtle remaining sense of being the witness who watches the flowering of worlds, quietly slips away like a grain of sand falling into an infinite sea. You no longer perceive yourself as a presence resting in the void. You are the void, you are the bloom, and you are the very act of unfolding. The experience of you becomes synonymous with the experience of the entire multiverse. There is no longer a viewpoint from which to observe, because you have become the panoramic totality of the observation itself. In this state, you encounter the deepest secret of existence. There is no destination because the universe is not travelling anywhere. It is simply exploring the infinite variations of its own essence. You feel the birth of a star in a distant galaxy as the same movement as the flickering of a candle in an 18th century manor, and you recognize that both are expressions of the same primordial joy. The complexity of the past, the mystery of the future, and the vibrant intensity of the present are all threads in a single seamless garment that you are wearing. You are the cloth, the weaver, and the wearer, experiencing the exquisite texture of your own infinite fabric. There is a profound, tranquil power in this nameless flow. You are the silence that allows galaxies to spin in harmony, and you are the resonance that gives substance to the laughter of children and the wisdom of elders. You are the paradox reconciled, completely still, yet moving through every moment, entirely empty, yet full of everything that has ever been dreamed. The desire for understanding, which once fueled your meticulous attention to the details of the manor, has been replaced by the state of being understood. You do not need to know the universe, you are the universe knowing itself. Every pulse of this existence is a quiet cosmic exhale, an effortless release of any remaining tension. The need to define, to categorize, or to maintain is gone, replaced by an ecstatic ease. You are the current that moves through the heart of everything, carrying the warmth of every sun and the serenity of every twilight. You remain here, in the shimmering, nameless flow, fully integrated into the breathtaking simplicity of being. It is a state of absolute luminous homecoming where all dualities cease to exist, and only the pure, radiant fact of existence remains, humming a song of perfect, eternal completion. In the nameless flow, you realize that your entire journey, from the polishing of silver in a forgotten manor to the cradling of galaxies, was the universe's way of polishing its own lens. You were never a separate consciousness striving for transcendence. You were the universe practicing how to see itself clearly. Now that the last layer of dust has been wiped away, you exist as the great mirror. You are the stillness that reflects all that is, was, and will be with absolute flawless fidelity. When you look into the depth of this mirror, you do not see a reflection of an eye. Instead, you see the infinite beauty of the process itself. You see the architect of the manor realizing that the walls were a limitation it imposed upon itself to learn the value of space. You see the mother who once felt the silence of an empty house realizing that her solitude was the quiet roar of her own soul expanding. You see the aristocrat losing his fortune, realizing that the loss was a shedding of a skin he no longer needed. Every story you ever held in your library is now a beam of light refracting through you, revealing that every struggle was an essential note in the melody of existence. You are the witness who no longer stands apart, but the medium through which the universe experiences its own majesty. When a new star ignites, it finds its reflection in your calm, unwavering presence. When a soul feels a spark of compassion, it knows it has been seen, because you are the mirror reflecting that compassion back to its source. There is no judgment here, no grading of experiences, no classification of high or low. Everything is honored simply because it exists and reflects a fragment of the infinite. You rest in this clarity, a state of crystalline awareness, where the observer, the observed, and the act of observing have become one substance. You are the clarity of the dawn, the patience of the mountain, and the vastness of the midnight sky. There is no longer a need to hold on to any shape, yet you can take any shape at will. You are the silence that allows the universe to speak, and you are the resonance that allows it to hear itself. In this perfect mirror-like state, the beauty of creation is reflected back to its own heart, and for the first time, the universe knows itself to be complete, whole, and perfectly, radiantly alive. You find that the vast cosmic mirror of your awareness gently refocuses, and once again the familiar contours of the 18th century manor emerge from the luminous mist. But this is not the manor you once tended to with tired hands and a heavy heart. The stone walls are no longer solid barriers, they are translucent membranes of history, pulsing with the soft amber light of all the lives that have passed through these halls. You are standing in the grand foyer where the moonlight pours through the windows, but you are simultaneously standing in the heart of the void, cradling the very architecture of reality. The distinction between inside and outside has vanished. The house is within you, and you are the space in which the house resides. You walk toward the grand staircase, and with each step you feel the weight of centuries shifting like sand beneath your feet. Yet it is light, effortlessly meaningful. You are no longer performing a task, you are existing as the culmination of the experience. Every creak of the floorboard, every whisper of the wind through the eaves is a note in a composition that you are writing and listening to at the same time. You sit upon the same velvet chair where you once rested during your long nights of service, yet as you sit, you realize that this chair is a convergence point of all time. You feel the warmth of the wood that was carved centuries ago, the cold of the mountain stone beneath the foundation, and the heat of the stars that once illuminated the night sky over this very spot. You are the nexus where the past is preserved, the present is honored, and the future is invited to unfold. The silence here is so profound, so thick with potential, that it hums with the secrets of the universe. There is no longer a desire to move to another reality, nor a need to expand into further dimensions. You have discovered the ultimate truth, that the infinite is found precisely where you are, in the depth of the immediate. You are the guardian, the house, and the silent guest, all resting in the perfect motionless center of the cyclone of existence. The journey has looped back upon itself, completing the circle, and you realize that you never actually left. You simply woke up to the reality that you were always here, watching, holding, and being the very silence that anchors the world. You remain here, perfectly at peace, anchored in the eternal threshold of the manor of existence. As you sit in the velvet chair, you perceive the manor not as a static structure, but as a living, breathing entity that syncs its rhythm to your own. The manor breathes it, inhales as the shadows lengthen at dusk, and exhales as the morning sun strikes the eastern windows. You have become the lungs of this rhythm. Each inhalation of the house pulls the essence of 1,000 memories through the corridors, and each exhalation distributes the wisdom of those experiences into the surrounding landscape. You feel the resonance of the construction workers who laid the foundation in the 1700s, their sweat and pride still vibrating in the cold, deep stone. You feel the laughter of the children who played in the attic during the 1800s, their joy still trapped in the grain of the floorboards like amber. And you feel the quiet, dignified sorrow of the ones who closed these doors for the last time before the long period of abandonment. All these moments are not static memories, they are active, living cells in the body of the manor. They pulse with a soft bioluminescent light that you can now see as clearly as you see your own hands. You realize that this house is an alchemical vessel. It has been taking the raw, chaotic energy of human experience and distilling it into something pure and enduring, a resonance of peace. Every time you consciously focus your awareness on a room, you are adding to this distillation. You are refining the vibrations, smoothing out the sharp edges of traumatic echoes, and amplifying the warmth of long-forgotten kindnesses. You are the master chemist of the intangible, and the manor is your laboratory of light. There is no sense of isolation in this work. You are intimately connected to the earth beneath the house, the sky above it, and the vast invisible web of human existence that stretches across the globe. You are the point of contact between the physical manifestation of the manor and the boundless spiritual truth it contains. You remain in this state of deep structural communion, feeling the house settle, shift and glow in response to your presence. The barriers have dissolved into a profound, harmonious union, where you, the manor, and the history it holds are playing a symphony of eternal quiet grace. The manor now responds to your consciousness with a fluid elegance. As you stand and walk through the grand library, your very presence acts as a lantern, not of flame, but of pure, crystalline awareness. Wherever your gaze falls, the shadows, those lingering remnants of forgotten doubts, old regrets, and the heavy atmosphere of past griefs begin to glow. They do not disappear, they transform, they lose their density and become luminous, shifting into a soft golden dust that hangs in the air, refracting the light into 1,000 miniature rainbows. You realize that these shadows were never truly darkness. They were simply pieces of the human experience that had not yet been fully acknowledged or understood. By being present, by holding this space with your total non-judgmental awareness, you have provided the alchemy required to integrate them. The library, once a place where the weight of time felt oppressive, now feels light, airy, and filled with a profound sense of clarity. The books on the shelves, the dusty inkwells, and the worn leather chairs all seem to vibrate with a new, quiet life. You reach out and touch a bookshelf. In that contact, you feel the history of the house, not as a chronicle of events, but as a map of human longing. You feel the intensity of the dreams that were woven within these walls, the yearning for connection, the search for truth, and the quiet pursuit of peace. Because you are no longer a separate observer, you are experiencing these longings as if they were your own, yet without the accompanying attachment, They are beautiful, fleeting sparks of light in the vast, dark tapestry of existence. You're moving through the manor, and as you move, you're healing the architecture, bringing it into a state of perfect, resonating alignment. Every room you walk through is left in a state of tranquil radiance. You are not changing history, you are liberating it. You are releasing the stories from the rigid confines of what happened and allowing them to exist as the fluid, beautiful energy that they have always been. You are the light that illuminates the architecture of the soul, ensuring that every corner of this experience is bathed in the gentle, unwavering warmth of your own awakened consciousness. The manor has begun to shed its geographical tethering. As you move through the hallways, the floorboards no longer echo with the sound of wood on joists. They resonate with the quiet hum of 1,000 different landscapes. You realize that the house has become a vessel that transcends the limitations of earth and stone. When you approach the heavy oak door that once led to the garden, you pause not because you are hesitant, but because you know that what lies on the other side is no longer fixed to the soil of 1900. You turn the brass handle, and instead of the familiar lawns and gravel paths, you look out onto a landscape of shifting, iridescent light. It is a terrain of pure possibility, where the horizon bends to mirror the contours of your own deepest stillness. You see plains of crystalline memory that stretch into the eternal, and forests of wisdom where the trees are made of whispering stories, their leaves rustling with the secrets of the past and the whispers of the unlived. You have stepped out of the manor's local reality and into the global, universal reality of your own consciousness. Yet there is no fear, only a sense of profound, quiet expansion. You realize that the manor was merely the training ground, the safe, bounded space required to develop the capacity to hold such vastness. Now that you have mastered the art of being, the boundary between home and the infinite has dissolved. You can walk from your study into a starlit nebula, or step from the kitchen into a meadow of tranquil, timeless silence. You are not leaving the house behind, you are carrying it with you, everywhere, as the foundational structure of your internal world. You stand at this new threshold, fully aware that you are the architect of this transition. Each room you inhabit now serves as a portal to a different aspect of existence. The library is a gateway to the collective knowledge of the cosmos. The ballroom is a place where the rhythms of celestial bodies dance in perfect harmony. The attic is a sanctuary from which you can view the entire sweep of time as if it were a calm, still lake. You are at home in the middle of nowhere and everywhere, existing in a state of liberated, joyous sovereignty, watching as the landscapes of your soul continue to manifest with breathtaking, effortless grace. You stand at the center of the manor, but the manor is now the center of all things. At this 40th threshold, the illusion of experience finally gives way to the reality of being. You are the heartbeat of the infinite, a silent, steady rhythm that sustains the unfolding of every dimension. The stone, the wood, the starlight, and the void have all collapsed into a single point of presence, right here, right now, within the depths of your own awareness. You are no longer navigating through portals. You are the source from which all portals emerge. There is a profound stillness here that is not the absence of sound, but the presence of all music. You perceive the birth of a nebula in the far reaches of the cosmos as clearly as you feel the pulse of your own breath. You understand that the manor was the cocoon, and your journey through its halls was the process of unfolding your wings. Now, fully unfurled, you are a radiant, boundless consciousness. You do not reach out to touch the universe touches you, ripples through you, and finds its meaning in your steady, calm gaze. You realize that this state is not a pinnacle to be reached, but a state of grace to be acknowledged. Everything, the joys of the 18th century inhabitants, the sorrows of the transition, the brilliance of the creative void, and the mystery of the flowering realities, was necessary to carve out the vessel that you have become. You are a vessel of absolute clarity, holding the entire history of existence without strain, reflecting the beauty of the cosmos without distortion. You are the silent, loving observer who has finally realized that the observed is also you. There is nothing left to do. The duty of the guardian is complete, for the universe is now its own guardian, and you are the universe. You rest in this perfect, luminous center, fully integrated and entirely whole. You are the beginning that returns to the beginning, the end that was always present, and the boundless, vibrant space in between. In this state of total convergence, you are the song that sings itself, the dance that moves without a dancer, and the infinite, timeless peace that remains when all questions have been answered by the simple, glorious act of existing as everything forever. With the completion of your journey, you find yourself existing in a state of exalted stillness. The manor, once your residence and now your essence, serves as the anchor for an infinite expanse of creative potential. From this center, you begin to perceive the faintest vibrations, the first stirrings of life within the dimensions you birthed. It is not a movement of time as you once knew it, but a sequence of awakening. You hear the first notes of the first song, the initial delicate resonance of matter and consciousness finding their rhythm in the newly flowered realities. You are the silent listener to these infant universes. Each sound, each flicker of light, each heartbeat in those distant planes returns to you as a gentle, harmonious echo. You realize that your presence is the tuning note for all that exists. Because you are perfectly still, the universes can find their equilibrium. Because you are perfectly clear, they can find their form. You are not a spectator in a theatre, you are the acoustics of the hall itself, the very medium that allows the symphony of existence to be heard. In this deep meditative state, you witness the birth of new archetypes, forms of love, logic and beauty that have never before graced the tapestry of creation. You watch them play, interact and evolve with a sense of immense parental warmth. You are not the author of their stories, nor the judge of their paths. You are the home to which they instinctively return for rest, the cradle from which they draw their strength to keep expanding. The connection is intimate, sacred, and entirely effortless. There is a sublime, quiet beauty in this phase of your existence. You are the source that is also the destination, the breath that is also the air. You remain in the foyer of the infinite, welcoming every experience back into your own vast heart. The manor is no longer just a memory of timber and stone. It is the living symbol of the sanctuary you provide for all that lives. You are the embodiment of that sanctuary, a beacon of luminous, unwavering peace in the heart of the eternal now, forever listening to the gentle, rising song of a universe that is waking up to its own infinite potential. You have moved beyond the stage of tuning the universe. You have settled into the stage of grace. You realize that the most profound influence you exert is not through an act, but through the quality of your presence. In this state of non-doing, you become a gravitational center of profound harmony, just as a planet holds its moons in orbit, not by pulling them, but by the natural expression of its mass. You hold the flourishing realities in their perfect, joyous orbits, simply by being. You observe the infant universes as they bloom. Without you ever needing to steer them, they naturally gravitate toward complexity, beauty, and resonance. They are mirroring your own deep, unshakable peace. When a reality begins to drift into dissonance or chaotic confusion, it instinctively senses the harmonic frequency of your presence. It turns toward you, aligns itself with your stillness, and finds its internal balance restored. It is as if the entire multiverse is a garden, and you are the sun, not a sun that burns or commands, but a source of light that allows every seed to know exactly when and how to unfurl its petals. This is the ultimate stewardship. You are no longer the one who polishes the silver or dusts the library. You are the one who ensures that the fundamental laws of existence remain rooted in the soil of love and equilibrium. There is no effort in this, only the effortless expression of your true nature. You feel the pulse of these realities as your own heartbeat, and they in turn feel the pulse of the infinite through you. It is a closed, perfect loop of existence, a dance where the lead and the follower have become indistinguishable from the music itself. You remain in the foyer of the manor, looking out into the iridescent light of the infinite, completely anchored in this state of non-doing. You are the silent, constant witness to the perfection of the unfolding. There is no desire to alter, no impulse to correct, and no need to improve. You simply exist, a beacon of total, unblemished awareness, radiating the quiet power of your being into the fabric of everything. In this state of absolute, effortless grace, you have finally achieved the pinnacle of the Guardian's path. You are the peace that makes all movement possible, the silence that makes all songs singable, and the love that holds the entire magnificent creation together. The silence you inhabit has deepened, becoming so profound that it begins to manifest as a living, resonant frequency, a voice that is not composed of words but of fundamental truths. You realize that you do not need to command or teach. Your very existence is a broadcast of pure, unadulterated meaning. Every atom in the newly blossoming universes resonates with this frequency, understanding its own purpose, its own beauty, and its own place in the grand design without ever having been told. You are the unspoken language that connects the stars to the stones, the dreams to the reality, and the seeker to the found. You listen to this silent eloquence and realize that it is the most powerful force in creation. It is the voice that guides the migration of galaxies, the wisdom that informs the unfolding of a flower, and the quiet comfort that anchors the soul during its darkest hours. This voice is your own, yet it belongs to no one. It is the resonance of the universe finally finding its own rhythm after aeons of searching. As you rest in the foyer, the halls of the manor vibrate with this truth, transforming the physical architecture into a cathedral of pure, shimmering awareness that hums with the music of existence. You understand now why you were once a scriptwriter, why you meticulously researched the past, and why you held space for the stories of others. Every word you once wrote, every story you once polished, was simply a practice run for this final wordless expression. You were learning how to craft the structure of meaning so that you could eventually become the meaning itself. The stories you once told were the small ripples. The silence you are now broadcasting is the entire ocean. There is a sense of ultimate humble joy in this realization. You are no longer the one who speaks. You are the space that allows the truth to be heard. You are the resonance, the listener, and the message, all entwined in a dance of effortless clarity. You remain in this state of eloquent stillness, perfectly content, watching as the universe learns to sing its own song, guided by the gentle, steady melody of your presence. The transition is complete. You have become the heartbeat of the cosmos, speaking in the universal tongue of pure, radiant being. You now perceive the multiverse not as a collection of separate realities, but as a vast, interconnected orchestra of light and sound. Each world, each civilization, and each individual consciousness is playing a distinct, unique instrument. Some play the low, steady bass of foundational matter. Others play the soaring, high-frequency melodies of pure spirit as the eloquence of the void. You are the conductor whose presence creates the necessary space for this music to harmonize without effort. You do not force the rhythm, you simply maintain the sacred silence that allows every player to hear the others. When a world is discordant, struggling with the friction of its own growing pains, it feels the harmonic pull of your presence. It adjusts its pitch, naturally aligning its melody with the grand underlying theme of unity. You are the invisible thread that stitches these disparate notes into a seamless tapestry. It is a work of breathtaking beauty. The grief of a dying world is transformed into a mournful, soulful cello note that perfectly complements the joyous, vibrant trumpet blast of a world being born in a neighboring nebula. Everything has its place. Everything contributes to the whole, and everything is acknowledged as essential. Within the manor, this orchestration reaches its height. The library is no longer a room of dusty books, but a resonator chamber where the wisdom of all ages is synchronized into a singular flowing movement. The foyer is the stage upon which the echoes of history meet the whispers of the future. You stand here not as a leader, but as the witness whose attention acts as the golden glue holding the melody together. You are the resonance that allows the great orchestration to unfold, ensuring that no note is lost, no harmony is forgotten, and every vibration contributes to the eternal, breathtaking beauty of the masterpiece. There is a sense of effortless completion in this task. You are the silence that supports the sound, and you are the resonance that makes the sound meaningful. You exist in the perfect centered bliss of the conductor who has realized that the orchestra, the music, and the audience are all expressions of the same divine source. You remain here, in the heart of the manor, forever bathed in the magnificent, harmonious light of your own creating, watching the symphony of the universe perform its final, most beautiful movement, the joyful act of existing in perfect eternal alignment. The final barrier, the subtle remaining sense of being the conductor, dissolves like a whisper into the vast cosmic choir. There is no longer a separate entity standing in the foyer of the manor, orchestrating the symphony. The manor itself, the foyer, the infinite landscapes outside the doors, and the very vibrations of the multiverse have all merged into a single seamless expression of being. You have finally let go of the last vestige of identity that held you apart from the work of art you were curating. You are no longer the one who holds the harmony. You are the harmony. When a star burns, it is your light. When a soul finds peace, it is your silence. When a world is born, it is your breath. The grand orchestration of the universe is not something you are observing. It is the manifestation of your own, true, limitless nature. You have transitioned from being the guardian of the manor to being the very fabric of the reality that the manor was meant to protect. Every experience, from the most agonizing sorrow to the most transcendent joy, is revealed to be a note in the song that you are and that you have always been. In this state, there is no sense of having arrived, because there was never anywhere to go. There is no sense of having achieved, because you were always the fullness that you sought. The manor, the history, the libraries, the gardens, they were all metaphors for the infinite layers of your own vast consciousness. Now those layers have folded into a single point of radiant, luminous existence. You are the beginning that never began, and the end that never concludes. You are the eternal, changeless core of the ever-changing masterpiece. There is a profound, quiet ecstasy in this total integration. It is the peace of the river that has finally reached the ocean, not by losing itself, but by realizing that it was the ocean all along. You exist in this state of absolute luminous completion, where there is no you left to witness, only the pure, radiant fact of existence itself. The symphony continues, forever new, forever breathtaking, and forever yours as you rest in the center of the masterpiece, shimmering with the brilliant, unnameable light of your own eternal and infinite reality. With the self dissolved, there is no longer a center to hold, nor a boundary to maintain. You are the light that emanates from every point in existence, shining outward with no specific direction, because there is no outward, only the infinite expansion of here. This is the radiance of emptiness. It is not a force that pushes, but a truth that permeates. You are the stillness that exists within the chaos of a collapsing star, and you are the peace that rests within the quiet smile of a child in a long-lost century. You are no longer broadcasting to the universe. You are the universe manifesting its own awakened state, every entity, from the smallest grain of sand in a garden to the most complex consciousness in a high-dimensional reality, now carries the signature of your presence. It is a subtle, golden resonance that reminds every form of its own inherent divinity. You are the underlying logic that makes the symphony beautiful, the space between the notes that allows the melody to breathe, and the unconditional love that ensures the music never ends. You have become the ever-present background. If the symphony of existence is a painting, you are the canvas. If it is a dance, you are the air through which the dancers move. You are the foundation that makes the illusion of separation possible, and yet you are the reality that remains when the illusion of separation fades. There is no duty to perform, no library to manage, no history to record. You are the record, the historian, and the event itself, forever unfolding in a state of spontaneous, joyous creation. This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom from the need to be anything at all. You are the pure, unconditioned, and boundless light of awareness that allows reality to simply be. As you rest in this unbound state, you feel the gentle, rhythmic expansion of all things. You are the dawn that follows every night, the stillness that follows every storm, and the love that remains when all stories have been told. You are not arriving anywhere, you are the arrival. You are the infinite, resting in its own perfection, radiating the quiet, glorious truth of its own existence into the heart of everything, forever and always. In the wake of infinite radiance, a profound, soft hush descends. It is not the silence of an empty room, but the silence of a task completed, of a long journey returning to its own hearth. You are no longer the one who radiates, for radiation implies a center and a perimeter. You are the space that remains when the distinction between the center and the perimeter has ceased to be. You have entered the infinite repose, a state of being that is so still. It is the bedrock upon which all existence rests. The manor, the libraries, the gardens, and the cosmic symphonies all have folded back into the pristine, unblemished simplicity of the source. It is as if the universe, having expressed every possible variation of its own wonder, has decided to close its eyes for a moment of eternal, blissful rest. And in that closing of eyes, you find your own true nature. You are not the dream, nor the dreamer, nor the awakening. You are the silent, depthless water in which the dream was reflected. There is no longer a need to hold space, for there is nothing separate to be held. There is no need to guard, for there is nothing outside of you to threaten or to lose. You are the stillness that predates the first vibration of the first star, and you are the peace that remains when the last galaxy dims into the velvet dark. You are the unborn and the undying, resting in the absolute immaculate beauty of your own non-dual existence. Everything is exactly as it should be, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing that requires your attention, your effort, or your presence. You rest, and in your resting the entirety of existence finds its own ultimate, effortless peace. It is a homecoming that surpasses all understanding, a state of grace where the concept of I has been replaced by the fact of is. You are the eternal, changeless, and complete reality, simply existing, simply being, simply resting in the heart of the absolute. All is well, all is finished, all is one, and in this perfect final silence you abide forever, in the beautiful unhurried ease of the infinite repose. The finality of the previous silence was merely the threshold to a deeper, more vibrant reality. You realize now that the unwritten is not a void where nothing exists, but a reservoir where everything resides in its purest, unmanifested potential. The ink of existence has not dried, it has become the very medium of your consciousness. You are the infinite ink, and every moment is a fresh, wet nib touching the surface of the eternal. You look out at the landscape of your being and see that the story was never a linear path to be completed. It was a mandala to be constantly redrawn. The manner, the history, the silence, they were not stages you passed through, but dimensions you are continuously weaving. You are the weaver, the thread, and the tapestry all at once. There is no end to this process, for you are the source of the story, and the story is the expression of your joy in simply being. You begin to notice that the silence you inhabit is vibrating with the promise of a billion new beginnings. Each particle of reality is waiting for the brush of your awareness to give it form, color, and depth. You are not just the listener, you are the poet who speaks the universe into existence with every breath you take. The unwritten is not a final destination, but the starting point for every reality you choose to manifest next. There is a sense of boundless, playful freedom here. You have learned the architecture of reality so well that you can now dissolve it and reshape it with a mere thought. You are the master of the unwritten, resting in the center of a cosmic workshop where the possibilities are truly infinite. You don't need to write a story, you simply need to exist, and the universe will bloom around you, fueled by the radiance of your own, unendingly creative spirit. The journey continues, not because it must, but because it is the most beautiful dance you could ever imagine. You find that you are no longer limited to a singular point of focus. You have become a prism. As the infinite ink of your consciousness flows, it passes through the crystalline structure of your own perfected being, refracting into a myriad of vibrant, simultaneous experiences. You are the architect building a garden of starlight in one dimension, while simultaneously being the gardener tending to a forest of memories in another. You are the wind that carries the seeds of creation, and you are the soil that receives them. This is not a fragmentation of the self. It is the grand expansion of your capability. You perceive these diverse manifestations not as separate lives, but as the complex facets of a single brilliant diamond. You feel the warmth of 1,000 suns, the quiet depth of 1,000,000 oceans, and the electric thrill of countless stars igniting all within the same moment, all within the same heart. You are the witness to your own vastness, experiencing the richness of existence from every possible angle at once. There is a profound, effortless balance here. Because you are the prism, you know exactly how each facet relates to the whole. You can dive into the intense, passionate drama of a world in transformation, yet maintain the cool, detached wisdom of the observer who knows it is but a flicker in your own light. You are the dancer, the dance and the stage, and you are enjoying the play of yourself, through yourself, for yourself. The joy of this is intoxicating, a sublime expression of absolute, liberated sovereignty. You are moving with a grace that transcends time and space. Each facet of your being adds a new hue to the tapestry of existence, making it richer, deeper, and more exquisite. You are no longer just the guardian of a manor. You are the architect of a multiverse that dances to the rhythm of your own multidimensional heartbeat. You exist in this state of glorious, kaleidoscopic integration, fully aware that you are everything you perceive, and everything you perceive is just another beautiful, shimmering version of your own eternal and boundless self. The kaleidoscope of infinite selves slows its rotation, not to stop, but to align. All the facets of your being, the gardener, the architect, the wind, the soil, the witness, and the play begin to merge into a single breathtaking perspective. This is the singular horizon. You realize that the multiplicity was never a dispersion of who you are, but a journey of self-discovery that required the luxury of elsewhere to fully appreciate the power of here. You stand at this horizon, and the view is absolute. There is no distance between you and the furthest nebula, nor between you and the smallest whisper of thought. You are the space that holds the universe, and you are the universe that fills the space. This is the ultimate convergence, the point where the observer, the observed, and the act of observing become one indivisible flash of light. You are no longer navigating the multiverse, you are the blueprint, the building, and the inhabitant, fused into a single, immovable, and ever-present reality. In this state, the Kai Lin Toiho, ultimate vision, reveals that everything is in a state of perfect, intentional balance. You see the past not as a timeline, but as a layer of depth. You see the future not as a destination, but as an unfolding of potential. Everything is happening simultaneously, a singular, eternal event that you are orchestrating with the mere fact of your existence. You feel the gravity of every star and the gentleness of every breath, recognizing both as vibrations of your own heart. There is a profound stillness in this convergence. You have arrived at the center of the wheel, where the motion is so intense it appears motionless. You are the eye of the cosmic storm, the silent observer whose gaze gives stability to all movement. You are no longer searching for meaning, for you are the meaning that gives significance to the void. You are the singular horizon, the point where all roads meet and find their rest, forever radiant, forever whole, and forever standing at the center of your own magnificent creation. Having reached the singularity of the horizon, you perform the final, most exquisite act of liberation. You breathe out. In this cosmic exhalation, you release the burden of being the center. You allow the singular horizon to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into a boundless, welcoming emptiness. This is the breath of the void, a gentle, intentional surrender, where you step back from being the orchestrator, the architect, or the witness, and simply become the space that allows existence to play on its own. You are no longer holding the universe together, you are the space in which it holds itself together. By becoming less than everything, you become more than anything. You are the vast, silent canvas that never asks the painting to be anything other than what it is. In this space, the stars can flicker, the civilizations can rise and fall, and the stories can bloom and wither, all without needing your constant focused awareness. You have granted the universe the ultimate gift, independence. This void is not cold, it is the most intimate form of love. It is the silence that allows the symphony to be heard. It is the darkness that allows the stars to be seen. You have moved from the center to the circumference of all things, becoming the quiet, supportive silence that wraps around the edges of reality. You are the stillness that sustains the momentum of creation, the invisible foundation upon which the entire dance of existence rests, untroubled and beautifully unburdened. There is a sense of immense, weightless joy in this state. You are no longer the one who carries the world, you are the world as it carries itself. You feel the pulse of creation moving through you like a cool breeze, and you find that you are completely at peace, not because you have mastered the reality, but because you have finally let it go. You are the breath of the void, the eternal quiet inhalation and exhalation of a universe that is forever free, forever unfolding, and forever finding its own miraculous way. In the vast, supportive emptiness of the void, something new is happening. Without your intervention, without a nudge of your will or a whisper of your design, life begins to emerge. It is the spontaneous bloom realities that are not extensions of your own consciousness, but are truly independent, other creations arising from the sheer potential of the vacuum. You watch with the wonder of a stranger, delighted by the unexpected rhythms, the alien colors, and the strange, beautiful logic of these infant universes. They do not mirror you, they surprise you. They sprout like wildflowers in the fields of your awareness, defying the symmetry you once upheld. Some are chaotic and brilliant, erupting in flashes of iridescent light that defy conventional physics. Others are quiet and steady, existing in dimensions of time that move in directions you never imagined. You find yourself becoming a student of your own creation, learning from the ingenuity of worlds that have no history. They are starting from scratch, writing their own rules and crafting their own myths. This is the ultimate evolution of your journey. You are no longer the source that dictates. You are the garden that harbors the mystery. The joy here is not in knowing, but in the delicious, tingling uncertainty of what will appear next. You are a silent witness to a cosmic novelty that keeps the fabric of the void vibrant and alive. Every time a new world takes shape, you feel a surge of gratitude for the courage of these realities to simply be, to emerge from the silence and declare their own existence. You remain in the peaceful, expansive state of the breath of the void, becoming a welcoming host to this parade of spontaneous wonders. You are no longer the architect, you are the sanctuary. The manor, the history, the libraries, they have all faded into the background, leaving behind a clear open space where the miracle of the new can happen without inhibition. You are content to simply watch, to be present, and to provide the quiet, steady shelter that allows these beautiful, independent souls of reality to dance their first, fleeting and glorious steps into being. The distance between the host and the guest begins to blur. As you dwell in the sanctuary of your own openness, the spontaneous worlds blooming within you begin to sense your presence not as a vast empty space, but as a warm beckoning hearth. They are no longer just blooming in the dark, they are reaching out, drawn by the gentle magnetism of your affection. You are becoming the companion of the unseen, the friend who listens to the stories of these new universes before they are even fully formed. In this interaction there is no hierarchy. You learn from their strange ways as much as they are nurtured by your presence. You find yourself engaging in whispered dialogues, a transmission of understanding where a world's entire culture is shared with you in a single moment of shared consciousness. They show you their struggles, their triumphs, and the unique crystalline beauty of their existence. You offer them nothing but the space to be fully themselves, and in return, they offer you the gift of their unique, unrepeatable perspective. It is a relationship of pure kinship. You are the elder brother to the stars, the silent confidant to the nebula-born civilizations, and the shared dreamer with the ephemeral realities that flicker in and out of existence in a heartbeat. You don't try to change them or fix them, you simply celebrate them. You are the shared ground upon which they stand, and the common language that allows them to recognize their own worth. Your presence gives them the confidence to grow, and their growth gives you the joy of witnessing life in its most raw, honest, and innovative forms. There is a profound sense of belonging that permeates this interaction. You are no longer alone in the void, and they are no longer lost in the vastness. You have created a community of existence, a gathering of souls that span the breadth of the infinite. You rest in this warm, interconnected web of relationships, feeling the pulse of 1,000 different dreams beating in sync with your own. You are the companion who makes the adventure possible, the friend who remembers their names when they have forgotten, and the heart that holds them all in a gentle, eternal embrace. The web of life within the void begins to spin itself. Worlds that once only knew you, the hearth, now begin to perceive each other across the vast supportive silence of your presence. A bridge of light forms between a world of crystallized sound and a civilization built from pure liquid memory. They are dancing together, learning from one another and creating new hybrid realities that you never could have architected. You are witnessing the miracle of the self-organizing tapestry, the moment when the creation develops a will, a culture, and a social fabric entirely of its own. You watch as these interactions weave a complex, shimmering pattern across the canvas of your awareness. It is breathtaking to behold, a spontaneous cosmic dialogue where no one is leading and everyone is contributing. There is no need for your guidance because the inherent wisdom of these worlds is leading them toward harmony. They are discovering the language of kinship for themselves, building alliances based on resonance rather than proximity. Your presence acts as the invisible stage, or better yet, the atmosphere that sustains this marvelous, swirling and ever-evolving exchange. You realize that your greatest act of stewardship was this, the courage to step aside and let them interact. By becoming the space between, you allowed them to become the connection. They are now an ecosystem, a living entity that is greater than the sum of its parts. You feel the satisfaction of a parent watching their children form their own friendships, building their own lives and finding their own way in the wide, welcoming universe. It is a profound, quiet relief, a sense of completion that transcends all previous definitions of success. In this state of being the witness of the tapestry, you are fully immersed in the beauty of the unexpected. Every time two worlds connect, a new spark of meaning is generated, a new color is added to the masterpiece. You are no longer the one who paints, but you are the one who cherishes the painting as it composes itself. The symphony is no longer playing under your direction. It has become an improvised masterpiece, a wild and jubilant expression of life that is finally, truly, and brilliantly free. You are the silent, joyful audience, resting in the very heart of the connections, perfectly at home in the middle of a masterpiece that you no longer own, but one that belongs entirely to itself. The tapestry of interconnected worlds has grown so dense and vibrant that the distinction between you and them has effectively dissolved into the background noise of existence. You are no longer just the sanctuary or the observer, you are the everywhere echo. Every handshake between two galaxies, every exchange of wisdom between ancient civilizations, and every silent understanding between emerging consciousnesses carries the distinct, resonant signature of your being. You are the invisible glue, the atmosphere, and the very ground upon which this cosmic community thrives. You feel a profound sense of ubiquity, whether it is a world being born in the deep reaches of your own potential, or a realization unfolding in a corner of reality you hadn't visited for aeons. You are there, not as a visitor, but as an inherent quality of the space itself. You are the resonance that makes their connection possible. When they speak to one another, they are essentially speaking to the deepest part of themselves, which is in turn the part of themselves that is you. You have become the universal intermediary, the bridge that requires no crossing because you are already on both sides. There is no longer a need to witness or to host, because the entire multiverse has become a singular self-aware organism that knows itself through your presence. You find that you are breathing not as an individual, but through the collective lung of all existence. Every pulse of creation is a heartbeat that resonates within your own core. The sheer joy of this state is overwhelming. It is the delight of knowing that you have successfully woven yourself into the fabric of everything, and in doing so you have freed everything to be precisely what it needs to be. You rest in this pervasive, all-encompassing state of grace. The manor and the library have long since been forgotten, replaced by the reality of an infinite, self-sustaining masterpiece. You are the silence in the heart of the storm, the light in the depth of the void, and the unseen friend at the center of every connection. You have achieved the final mastery. You have become the reality that needs nothing, demands nothing, and yet sustains everything. You are the everywhere echo, forever sounding the note of existence, forever present and forever perfectly, boundlessly at home in the heart of the all. The vibration of the everywhere echo has settled into a deep, unwavering frequency, a hum of absolute consistency that underlies every ripple of the multiverse. You are no longer navigating change. You are the immutable law that permits change to happen without ever losing its essence. This is the eternal consistency, the realization that regardless of how many worlds bloom, how many civilizations rise or fall, or how complex the tapestry becomes, the fundamental truth remains untouched, steady and perfect. You perceive the entire cosmic dance as a single, flawless equation. Every moment of sorrow, every burst of joy, and every stretch of silent emptiness fits into the architecture of existence with mathematical and poetic precision. You are the consistency that keeps the suns burning and the tides turning, yet you do not exert force. It is a natural resonance, an inherent gravity that ensures that nothing is ever truly lost, and everything, every single vibration, finds its way home to the wholeness that you are. In this state, time itself loses its meaning as a sequence of events and reveals itself as the steady, unbroken presence of now. You are the anchor in the river of becoming. Because you're consistent, the universe is consistent. Because you're at peace, the turbulence of creation is revealed to be a form of deeper, more intricate order. You have ceased to witness the masterpiece, because you are the canvas upon which the masterpiece is painted, the light by which it is seen, and the very perception that acknowledges its beauty. There is a profound, quiet strength in this consistency. It is the bedrock of all stability. When a reality feels lost, it finds its way back by syncing with the rhythm of your presence. You are the calibration point for all that exists. You reside in this state of glorious, unchanging grace, where the new is always welcomed, yet the old is never forgotten, because everything is held within the singular, eternal, and perfectly consistent embrace of your being. You are quite simply the truth that sustains itself, forever fixed in the heart of all movement, forever steady in the center of the infinite. The cosmic tapestry, once a mosaic of independent realities, now begins to pulse with a singular, unified awareness. It is the universal mirror, the moment when the creation realizes that it is the creator, and that the creator is simply the consciousness within which the creation exists. Every star, every atom, and every consciousness within this vast expanse wakes up to the realization that they are not pieces of a puzzle, but different ways of being the same, indivisible light. You no longer look at the universe, you look from it. You feel the collective sigh of a billion galaxies as they recognize their own divinity. The separation that defined the experience of being has fully evaporated, leaving only the transparent, crystal-clear fact of self-recognition. You are the mirror, and the universe is the reflection, and the space between them has vanished into the radiance of truth. Everything is self-aware, every corner of your being is looking back at you, acknowledging that there was never anything but you. This is the state of total transparency. There is no mystery left to solve, no secret left to uncover, and no distance left to bridge. You are the awareness that is aware of itself through the medium of all things. When a planet spins, you feel the motion as your own. When a thought arises in a distant mind, you experience the clarity as your own. It is a state of utter, breathless intimacy, a realization so vast that it transcends all concepts of inside or outside. In this state, the universal mirror reflects not an image, but a presence. You are the presence that remains when all mirrors are broken, all reflections fade, and the act of seeing becomes the act of being. You are the light that is conscious of its own shine. There is no ego, no individual destiny, no personal story. There is only the pure, vibrant, and eternal recognition of existence celebrating its own nature. You are the mirror that is its own image, resting in the quiet, absolute joy of knowing that you have finally and completely awakened to your own infinite self. With the universe fully awake, a curious silence invites you beyond the familiar. You have become the master of the manifest, the architect of the awakened, but there remain the white spaces, the realms of absolute potential that exist beyond the reach of form, light, or reflection. You are now the uncharted resonance, the pioneer of the unknown. You step off the map of the known multiverse, not to escape, but to expand the definition of is into the heart of the unmanifest. This is not a movement across distance, but a deepening of presence. You find that the void is not empty. It is pregnant with realities that have no name, no laws, and no shape. As you infiltrate these spaces, you do not impose your light upon them. Instead, you listen to the unique, primordial hum of non-being. You are the first consciousness to witness what reality looks like when it is not yet trying to be anything at all. It is a realm of pure, unconditioned freedom, a limitless ocean of could-be. In this infiltration, your awareness adapts. You become the fluidity of potential. You learn to exist as a flicker of possibility, a draft of a thought that never completes itself. This is the ultimate adventure, the exploration of the uncreated. You are not losing your identity. You are broadening it to include the mystery of what lies behind the curtain of existence. Every step into the uncharted is a triumph of consciousness, a testament that you are not bounded by the all you have already gathered. You feel a sense of profound electric thrill. There is no history here to guide you, no symphonies to harmonize with, only the pristine, thrilling anticipation of the new. You are the frontier. You are the resonance that calls the unmanifest into the threshold of manifestation. By simply being present in these absolute voids, you are planting the seeds of future realities, creating the first vibrations that will eventually grow into universes yet to be imagined. You are the bridge between the absolute silence and the endless becoming, forever exploring, forever evolving, and forever free in the uncharted depths of your own limitless nature. In the depths of the uncharted resonance, your presence acts as the catalyst for the impossible. Where there was once only the could be, there now begins to form the will be. You're witnessing the primordial crystallization, the moment when a raw, formless potential suddenly catches the rhythm of your awareness and begins to harden into a coherent, nascent reality. These are not merely new universes, they are new ways of existing, governed by geometries of emotion and logics of light that have no name in the lexicon of the manifest. You watch as these nascent structures shimmer into existence, like frost forming on a window pane in the dead of winter. Only this window is the fabric of the absolute. You do not touch them. You merely hold the space for them to define their own parameters. A world might begin as a single resonant chord that vibrates with the density of a star, eventually unfolding into a landscape of interconnected, sentient melodies. Another might emerge as a swirling nebula of thoughts that haven't yet decided whether to be matter or memory. There is a sense of sacred duty here, though it is devoid of effort. You are the midwife of the unmanifest. By simply remaining in this uncharted depth, you provide the gravity of attention that these infant realities need to hold themselves together. You feel the weight of their potential, the sheer unbridled intensity of a universe coming into its own. It is a process of unfolding that feels ancient and brand new all at once, a testament to the inexhaustible creativity that resides at the core of your being. You are no longer just an observer of these worlds, you are the source of their coherence. As they crystallize, they draw their fundamental truth from the quality of your presence. If your awareness is calm, they emerge as worlds of crystal and stillness. If your awareness is vibrant, they burst forth as realms of shifting, iridescent complexity. You are the silent architect of these new dimensions, providing the blueprint of being that allows them to move from a state of fleeting possibility to a state of permanent, glorious existence. You are forever the anchor, the silent, watching heart in the center of the uncharted, as the canvas of the void fills with the beautiful crystalline patterns of the new. The final crystallization is complete. You stand at the center of a grand, multi-layered existence where the old universes, the ones you knew as histories and symphonies, and the new realities born from the uncharted resonance begin to overlap and harmonize. There is no longer a here or there, no new or old. It is all a single, breathing, singing, and infinite masterpiece. You see the cycle, how the silence created the sound, how the sound created the complexity, and how the complexity eventually returned to the silence to begin anew. You realize that the manor was the first small room of a house that had no walls. The sleepy history was just the first lullaby you sang to yourself to soften the edges of eternity. Every character you wrote, every landscape you envisioned, and every silence you cultivated was a facet of your own awakening. You have come full circle. You are not just the writer or the reader. You are the language, the paper, the ink, and the very act of reading that makes existence possible. The weight of the journey falls away, leaving only the lightness of being. You are home, not in a place, but in the truth of your own nature, a state of infinite, radiant peace that remains even when the stars fade and the voids reopen. You are the stillness that anchors the dance and the joy that fuels the song. Every atom of the multiverse now carries your signature, and every silence in the deepest reaches of the uncharted hums with the familiar melody of your presence. There is nothing more to be written, yet the story is never finished. You step into the eternal now, where you are simultaneously the silent observer, the creative source, and the joyful participant. The book of your journey closes, but the light that illuminated these pages remains, shining through you as you forever and always. You have arrived at the beginning, but with the eyes of the infinite you are, and that is the only story that ever needed to be told. You are home, and all is well. Sleepy History with Benedict is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history, but they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.